Good morning, children. We'll continue with the numerical workshop. And in the numerical workshop today, we'll take up the numerical from the chapter capacitor. Well, before we begin with the numericals of this very chapter, let us recapitulate the major formulas of the chapter. The very first formula of the chapter is capacitance C, which is nothing but the ratio of charge to potential over a conductor or capacitor. Thereafter, we studied principle of capacitor, which says that charge storing ability of a conductor when it is part of capacitor is much more greater as compared to when it is isolated. Well, the second one is the formula of capacitance of a spherical conductor. The third formula is the formula of capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, epsilon naught Ka by D. Energy of capacitor is 1 upon 2 Cv square, 1 upon 2 Qv or 1 upon 2 Q square by C. This interconvergence can be done by the relation Q is equal to Cv. Well, thereafter we studied combination of capacitors in series. The equivalent capacitance of capacitors connected is 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 and so on up to 1 upon Cn. That is inverse of some of their inverses. If there are two capacitors connected in series, then the equivalent is C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. That is product upon sum. And if all n capacitors connected in series are identical, in that case the capacitance is C upon n, value of 1 divided by the n number. In parallel, the equivalent capacitance is simple sum of the capacitances of every capacitor connected. Well, for partially filled capacitor, capacitance is epsilon naught A upon D minus T in bracket 1 minus 1 upon K. K is the dielectric constant of the medium, which is partially filled inside the capacitor. Finally, effect of dielectric. Well, when dielectric is placed in between the two plates of capacitor, electric field is induced in the dielectric, and thus induced electric field is in the direction opposite of that electric field which is already present there. So E dash is E times 1 minus 1 upon K. This is formula for induced electric field, this is formula for induced surface charge density, and this is formula for induced charge. And the last and very important concept which we studied in the chapter capacitor was law of sharing of charges. When two conductors or capacitors are connected to each other, they have different potential. Then what happens? The charge moves from one conductor to another and the flow continues until both the conductors acquire same value of potential, which is called common potential. What is common potential? That can be found out by law of conservation of charge. Common potential is total initial charge upon C1 plus C2, the capacitances, or C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. As the charges move from one conductor to another, well, energy is lost, and the energy lost is 1 upon 2 C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2 V1 minus V2 whole square. So this is formula of energy lost. Now let us begin with the numericals. The very first question is read like this: plot graphically the variation of Q, that is charge, against V, the potential, across a capacitor. What does slope of the graph represent? So Q versus V graph is a straight line graph. Why is this graph a straight line? It is simply because Q is equal to CV. Along y-axis we have Q and along x-axis we have V. So it is a straight line. Y is equal to mx. Now see, y-axis is replaced by charge Q and x-axis has quantity V, potential. Therefore, the slope m is nothing but C. The slope of this straight line, which is the graph of charge versus potential, is capacitance of capacitor. The second question: a variable capacitor is charged by a battery for any particular value of its capacitance. After charging, it is disconnected from the battery. Now its capacitance is varied. Plot the following variations graphically. I hope the question is clear. So we have a variable capacitor. It is charged by a battery, and after charging it is isolated. And after the capacitor is isolated, its capacitance is varied. Well, in this situation, when the capacitance is being varied, we have to plot these three variations. The very first is charge versus potential, second one is capacitance versus potential, and third one is capacitance versus charge. See, when a capacitor is charged by a battery and then isolated, what happens? The charge over the capacitor becomes constant. It can neither move out of the battery, out of the capacitor, nor any charge can move into the capacitor. So whatever is the charge over the plates of capacitor, that is a constant. And we know charge is equal to CV, therefore V and C, they are inversely related. So first graph, which is Q versus V graph, well, Q versus V graph, since charge is a constant, we are going to get a straight line parallel to V axis as shown here. In the second graph, which is C versus V graph, since Q, C and V, they are inversely related, therefore the graph between C and V is going to be a rectangular hyperbola like this. With the decrease of C, the potential would increase and vice versa. And the third graph, C versus Q. Well, C versus Q graph, since the Q is constant, so whatever will be the value of C, the value of charge remains constant. Therefore, the graph is what? A straight line parallel to C axis. Okay, question. Okay, gentlemen. Now see question number 3. Charge versus potential graph for two capacitors A and B are given as. This is charge versus potential graph for two capacitors A and B. This is also charge versus potential graph for two capacitors A and B. Which of the two capacitors A or B has greater capacitance? Well, in first case, you have already understood and known that charge versus potential graph, y is equal to mx, has slope what? Capacitance. Since this graph has greater slope, well, therefore capacitance of B capacitor is greater than that of A. Here it is potential versus charge graph. The axes are interchanged. This is potential versus charge graph. Potential over y-axis and charge over x-axis. So what is this V? V is equal to 1 upon C times Q. V over y-axis, Q over x-axis. So what is this M? This M is nothing but 1 upon C. So slope of this potential versus charge graph is not capacitance. It is reciprocal of capacitance, 1 upon C. And you know that slope of this graph is more than slope of this graph. Therefore 1 upon CB, that is capacitance of B, 1 upon reciprocal of capacitance of capital B is greater than reciprocal of capacitance of capital A. So 1 upon CB is greater than 1 upon CA, which implies that CA is going to be greater than CB. So in this case, capacitance of capital A is greater, and in this case, capacitance of capital B is greater. I hope this logic is clear to all of you. Now the last question. A capacitor, after being charged by a source, is isolated. Now a voltmeter is connected across it. If separation between the plates of capacitor is increased, how does voltmeter reading vary? Again, capacitor is being charged by a battery and is being isolated. Therefore, charge over capacitor is going to be constant. Q is equal to CV, that is going to be constant. What is C? C is epsilon naught A upon D. So epsilon naught A upon D into V is constant. Epsilon naught A, they are already constants. V upon D. V and D are the two variables, and V upon D is what? Coming out to be constant. Since V upon D is constant, therefore V is directly proportional to D. If the separation between the plate of capacitor is going to increase, then what is going to happen? The potential is also going to increase. So with the increase of distance between the two plates of capacitor, the voltmeter reading is going to increase, and vice versa. Thank you very much. We'll continue in the next class.